Alright, welcome back. We're going to be taking a look at the other half of this project, the let go of your hand portion. So I did it in literally, okay, I literally didn't even know about this function until this project, but up at the top here in arrangement, you can actually make new arrangement windows. So I made number 2, and this is where all that stuff happens. Originally, in the original arrangement, I wanted to make a part 2 to the song. Which goes into that big part. This is going to be loud. So we're going to take a look at that. I'm going to lower the volume a little bit. Oh, I can't. Okay. Put a pretty balance in here. We're going to take down the volume a little bit. Let's see what we got here. So, in this song, that is... Oh, well, that's the full distance of the song. Let's take a look. So I used a lot of drum samples in this. Now I switched it back to my main computer, so now I have access to anything I want. I'm sorry. Come on. However, I still used a lot of the bass drum. So, because I thought it was a nice kick. We've got a little clap in there with its formant taken all the way down, and some reverb on there. We're layering it with a different clap with the same thing done on there, same channel. Let's see what else. We have some of that in there. I'm starting to lose my foothold. I'm starting to lose my vocals. I'm starting to lose my... There's a lot going on with the automation, so I hope that I have everything in the right place here. I'm starting to... Doesn't sound like I do. Where is... I'm starting to lose my foothold. Friction's never been my friend. 'Cause honestly, half of the time, you don't even keep your eyes open. I'm starting to... So with the vocals here, the effects chain, autotune, cutting the lows, boosting the mids, compressing. I'm starting to... I don't hear the delay happening. Not sure why. Oh, because I have the wet turned all the way. The input is turned all the way down. So that way I can automate when the delay comes in. We have the instrument down here. Which was originally just this, with those little oboes, those flutes. And a really simple, just like saw triangle combination going on there. And then I exported the... Let's see. We have another synth going on right here. Same thing that's happening with these ones. And the fruity free filter, which is just a really easy cutoff filter, is used to give it the cutoff modulation. So it goes like that. Let me play it while it does that. I think oh no, okay. So there we go right there. bass happening, the pad works as a bass because it's so low. Do we have?
I'm starting to lose my foothold.
We have some reverb.
Friction's never been my friend.
As always.
'Cause honestly, half of the time, you don't even keep your eyes open. You know I do what I'm told.
We added in a new instrument there. Build the tension.
Don't tell me that it isn't worth it. Makes me feel stupid for following through.
And then here's where things start getting a little spicy. So first we have this bass patch happening right here.
Tell me.
And this is I was really happy with how this this build was done. Let me show you. I'm gonna get rid of this instrument.
Makes me feel.
Really doesn't sound very complicated with just the drums. That's why you need to build the tension in almost every area, every layer of your music. Yep, and so that bass happens. It's just like a really low saw wave with its envelope on the cutoff filter, like that. The other thing happening here is as the vocals come in here, we have automation on the vocal effects. So it looks like everything green here is part of the vocal channel. So first we have this EQ enabled. And that's number 3. So
tell me that it isn't worth it. Makes me.
So this turns off what used to cut off the highs and raise those mids, then turns off when that line hits, so it sounds really natural sounding.
Makes me feel stupid for following through.
Really dry. We also have anything that has a tail is hard cut right there. So that's what all these are for. That's so the tail doesn't ring out while the voice is happening, and it really emphasizes what's happening with the lyrics or the voice or whatever.
Makes me feel stupid for following through.
And then we have, you might recognize these chords from behind me. And that is just one chord cut in different octaves. I guess there's another chord right there.
Feel stupid for following through.
Then everything that was cut off comes back up, so it can happen still. Here's where the chorus happens. This could be a bunch of trouble because there are a lot of layers and it really lagged my computer. So looks like at this part, these snares, nice snares. They're very dry sounding. It's just a simple dry snare. But it's also being sent. Let's see. It's also being sent to. It's being sent to the main drum channel, and another channel looks like that is just wet reverb. But that's turned all the way down right here, so it's just dry. So then when the chorus hits, let's see what happens.
And I said it's not simple, but
So that came up, the reverb comes up, And also watch this.
And I said it's not simple, but
The delay comes on. And I automated the delay to come on as well as the time to be very low. So it sounds metallic, very hyper poppy.
and I said it's not simple, but
Right here when it comes in, I reversed the kick. I do that a lot for impacts, so it's not just a instant hit. There is still a little bit of build, but it's fast enough to where you still perceive it as a fast hit.
I said it's not simple, but
Let's see what we got going on here. I got new drums. Oh. And then I'm gonna mute this other. So it looks like I have two kicks going on. One is that original low kick, and one is this one that gives it its high-end crunch. So for that one, I just wanted to give it more high-end, and it actually sounds like, oh, interesting. The kick under here was actually turned into a wet-only reverb to give it some space, since this whole part is just really big. This part right here is, it used to be a channel, a synth channel, and I believe I can find that right here, which is this big chord, already lagging in the, another one, and another one. And they all have slightly different ranges. That one takes up all of it, that one takes up a middle section. This one looks like it's bass notes, and that one looks like it's like bottom middle section. So let me just mute those again. And so because it was taking up so much CPU, I consolidated it, so now I can actually smoothly play it. So now that it's consolidated, guess what I did? I went into the crusher. So I got some EQ happening, compression, and then the crusher right here, I have it happening in different degrees. So come on. Is this not? Oh, wait, it's happening right here. Sorry, this other channel that it's being sent to. So different amounts of bit reduction is happening rhythmically, which is really neat sounding. I then distort it or saturate it, so just kind of add some grit. Brings out those mids more. There's also this layer down here, which is almost the same thing, but more emphasis on the bass. It's also being sent to that bit crush, so it's happening at the same time. And then I have my bass. Right there, I switch between basses. So most of the bass is this patch, but then at that one note it switches there, At that one note, it switches to this other bass and this other bass, so on and so forth. And then right here, what am I doing?
I'd have to.
So it looks like I bounced that separately as well. And then I have this fun little instrument right here. Super fun addition. It is, I believe, yeah, just a really fast, big, fast LFO chord. When you're working with a big chord, the top notes can be close together, but when you use low notes that are close together, it can sound really cluttered. So I leave some distance between those low notes. And then the speed of the LFO starts fast, gets a little bit slow, and then speeds up again. And that's really nice. Let's see what else is going on here. There are also a lot of cuts happening. The delay cuts off there. There's a cutoff right there. So everything kind of has hard cuts between syllables.
It's not simple, but I hope you understand. I don't wanna sit around and wait for this to end. And I think you know, I'd have to let go of your hand.
Vocal-wise,
It's not simple, but I hope you understand. I don't wanna sit.
a lot of chopping was happening because I just wanted to take the good parts of the recordings.
It's not simple, but I hope you understand. I don't wanna sit.
And it looks like I exported them after the effects and then put more effects on them, so unfortunately I can't show you the exact process of that.
And I think you knew, I'd have to let go of your hand.
Saved on a lot of CPU. Sounds like I use a vocoder there as well for this low bass note. Not sure if you can hear it.
I'd have to let go of your hand.
And then when this note hits, we are using a snare right here and bringing the master volume down all the way to 1 to 0 right there. So everything cuts out before this next part comes in. If you put it on the exact bar, you get a little bit of a click. So if you have it kind of offset a little bit, it sounds more natural. Then master comes back. And then I love this lead, so I got a crash happening right here. I really like this lead. Let me show you what's going on here. So I'm going to take the effects off of it. And this is what it is. Just a really quiet, just a saw wave. That's it. It's polyphonic. But then we put it through a ton of distortion. So it's going through fast distort. Then it's going through compressor. We're raising some of the cool, some of the frequencies that I want to hear more than others. Then I have it going into isotope trash. Really comprehensive distortion, room modeling, kind of cabinet emulator thing. So it's being distorted, like so. That gives it a ton of crunch. There's another distortion it's going through that's fuzz after that. And then it's being convolved, which means convolver is kind of like a room emulator. So it's being emulated through the sample of a piano cabinet, and that's what gives it this wide sound. If I were to turn that off, It's in the center of your headphones. It's aggressive. It's crispy. When I turn it on, it's kind of like in the back. It's big. It's sounds broken, like it's coming through a broken speaker or something. I really liked that effect. Another way to achieve that is, I've talked about in the past, when you put notes, when there are multiple notes playing at the same time and you distort it, the frequencies of those notes battle with each other, and so there's some warbling happening. So I used that intentionally with this lead to really make it, it's kind of like making the notes growl. In fact, this is the same thing that goes on when you play a saxophone. Saxophone players, when they do gritty growl notes, the technique is actually to hum a note through your mouth and blowing the instrument like you usually do. So not only are you playing a note, but you're playing a different note through your mouth, and those two notes are resonating with each other, and that's what gives it the growl. So this is happening at the same time. So this is the main note, but these notes kind of happen at random intervals to give it some really glitchy, broken sound. And I decided to do a lot of playing back and playing back and playing back to kind of see what it sounds like. Yeah, that's really interesting. It's distorted so much that there's a little bit of a tail that pops up at the end there, and I couldn't figure out how to get rid of it. So whenever I was done with the patch, I just cut the audio. Same thing with the pads, this part in the vocals. We use that wide reverb thing, kind of like what the synth has.
I hope you understand.
And then
I'm breaking through, what's there to lose? I've gotta let go of your hand.
we brought back those things. And then looks like I used a cutoff filter to modulate it. I don't hear it at all right now. Why not? There's probably one of these tracks in here has the automation clip. There we go. And it sounds really nice when those dynamics are brought down a bunch. Looks like I actually automated it through here, which is an easy way to just, a really easy, quick way to change cutoffs if you don't want to use plugins. It's the lazy option. So those low frequencies are really giving room for the higher frequencies. Then this little lead comes in that I consolidated because it was taking too much CPU. Of course, there's a common theme here. It's really simple. Kicks are also brought down a ton on a low-pass filter to really calm down the feel.
When does the past become the past?
And then the second part happens. So it sounds like I'm doing the reverb in the vocals is being sidechained again. And the same kind of thing is going on with how it's EQ'd. I put in a octave layer right here.
You just say it's my loss and that it doesn't matter.
And that happens at the same time as that
You
lead.
just say it's my loss and that it doesn't matter. but at least I can fight my own battles. How do you really feel?
And the same build-up happens.
At least I can fight my own battles.
It's a little different this time because we have these consolidated snares. They sound awful on their own, but we controlled the pitch of them and the cutoff. So it really nails that build-up, as well as these original snares that we had going on the first time. They almost phase. We also have this thing. Great little cinematic burst in.
At least I can fight my own battles.
Then I took an amen break kind of thing. And cut it up in a bunch of different places. Here's what it sounds like. Yeah. I think I missed one area of it. No, that's it. So I controlled the cutoff on here. Really interesting effect. So that what normally was a stutter almost sounds like it's delayed. And it's just a really fast part right there. Oh, and right here, looks like iZotope Trash somewhere is being activated. It is being activated on the master bass channel. So every bass is sent to one channel, and then that one channel has iZotope Trash on it. So if Trash turns on, it affects every single bass. So if you listen, this chorus is different than the first chorus, not just for the fact that it doesn't have the same rhythm, and we added hi-hats, but it also, the bass is really wide and distorted. So yeah, then we got hi-hats. And it looks like I wanted to get some extra crispiness that wasn't there, so I used ring modulation again and brought up that frequency up really, really high, 100%, to just give it a really high ring. And then when I put it into my channel, I EQ'd it, so there we go. So there's that wide bass sound I'm talking about. I also, right here, have two different basses happening between. I exported them separately, so now I can control how they pan. That one's left, and this one is right, so that's how I got that effect. Also not affected by trash. Right here, I thought something needed to be a little bit different, so the two snares are actually layered on top of each other, slightly detimed. Gives an interesting flange effect. And also the tails of these are cut off on the chords. What else do we have? The delay of the snares brought back up. The reverb from vocals are removed. And there are hard cuts happening once again. So I actually didn't record a different line for this. I just got rid of the first words. And I only did that because they would overlap a little bit right here, and I wanted there to be silence, so I sacrificed some of those words and changed it. Right there, just like the first chorus, it's a different frequency that is happening there. So it looks like, yeah, that's right, all the effects I did were pre-consolidation. So almost every single line has a different amount of tracks and a different EQ or a different stereo field. So if you listen,
it's not simple, but I hope you understand. I don't wanna sit around.
Sounds like I have a little bit of slapback delay on it, saturation, On this one,
I hope you understand.
it's kind of, it sounds like a lot of wet reverb is, short reverb is added to it.
I don't wanna sit around. I'll take you to let go of your hand.
And there's also this thing, which was originally a plugin, and I had to consolidate it. Whoop-de-doo. The lead, I didn't want to make it samey, so I actually just lowered it an octave. Everything else is the same.
I'm breaking through. What's there to lose? I've gotta let go of your hand. I'm breaking through. What's there to lose? I've gotta let go of your hand.
And then when this part hits right here, notice the crash happens a little bit before it. Makes the transitions a little smoother if everything isn't hitting at the exact robot time. Sometimes you need to drag things off the grid a little bit. This is a sample from one of my favorite animes, Space Patrol Luluko. Studio Trigger makes it, the same studio who did Little Witch Academia, Kill la Kill. Great animation studio. I recommend watching this little series. It's really short. You could probably knock it out in one night. It's just a lot of fun, and I just wanted to sample something. I felt nostalgic. I rewatched this series like the day before, and so I sampled one of the sections of it, and I tried my best to get rid of the background music by EQing it. So it's EQ'd to hell, as you can see, and it's also bit crushed a little bit. Bring it some lo-fi juice, and there's no delay happening right now. It's phase inverted, which really puts it in the back of your head, sound-wise. It's just some nice ambient sound. And this part is the same part that's used right before every chorus, and it's just looped over and over and over. The chord tones that it is are ambiguous enough to where it works with any of the bass notes. So here we have a new bass instrument that comes in. And I have a cutoff filter being automated, so as this starts to happen, kind of opens up and then closes again. And then I have this really distorted thing, kind of just adds some impacts as stereo field. Something is raising. It sounds like this pad right here. You don't hear it until we start to get a little bit higher. And I didn't notice, but I accidentally put two of them there. The kicks are also cut off right here, really low, and they start to open up again at the end. So now the bass is really coming through with those highs. And what happens? We have some chords happening. And then there is just a build up with the drums. The cutoff opens up some more, and it looks like these chords that happen don't really change. The bass starts to close up again. And it gets a little louder. So the vocals for this part are interesting. It's this little section, and half of it is looped into itself. So just like the sampled Luluco, this is phase inverted. So it sounds like it's in the back of your head. Fun fact, if you listen with mono speakers, you probably won't be able to hear it. Really high passed. The goal there was to kind of evoke the sound of an inner voice kind of talking to you. And since every other noise is kind of low frequency, it really stands out. Especially since it's the only thing that's phase inverted. There's another layer down here that slowly comes up in volume to fill in the space that isn't phase inverted. It's also a different recording that I just wanted to also hear that sound, and it's a lower frequency as well. And then I did something interesting here, so let me get rid of these instruments real quick. So there's that lower one. It's also very, oh, damn it. It's also very wide. Reverb, I have isotope trash on it. It's got filter in the low mids, compressed. We have reversed impacts to build everything up right there. There's also this third layer that is a little bit of harmonization that I almost scrapped. And it's just a single note that's a fifth up. And as that happens, let's see here, reverb to dry level is coming up. So the phase inverted vocals, as they turn down, the unphased ones turn up, and eventually goes down all the way. So you're almost starting from a phase inverted, smoothly going into a not phase inverted. I also think I had something funky going on with some automation here, and I don't want to hear that damn instrument. I don't know where it's coming from. Where is that coming from? Oh, there it is. I don't know what this is affecting. I think I had an idea to edit the frequency to give it some interesting rhythm, but it ended up making it sound unintelligible, so I didn't. And then there's this other track down somewhere in here that comes in just at the last part. And that's the track that's having that frequency stuffed onto it. Okay, that makes sense. So if I were to open it up right there, this is what it would sound like. And it's not happening.
that I've wanted to put in.
And then the frequency kind of gets shoved down right there. High resonance.
Wanted to put in.
No more reverb.
Wanted to put in.
And then it does, it slows down at this part. So not everything is on the grid right. This is actually how the song started, was I was making something in 4/4, and then I accidentally put in a drum loop in there, and it kind of turned the song into 7/4, which is what the chorus is in. It's actually in 7. So I wanted to make some kind of transition that worked. So each of these snares is kind of placed as it's kind of placed as like a triplet, but they're not perfectly spaced apart. It gets slower every hit. So it's kind of like the song progressively gets slower really quickly. And all this is the same things that you saw in the chorus, but these are not consolidated because I was too lazy to do that. Here are some consolidated ones up there. There's an arpeggio happening if it wants to make a noise. A hard cut's happening right there. Also sounds like the arpeggio is panning left to right. More reversed bass drums. I also have the reverb of the snare happens right here. No other part of the song is this happening, but when this part of the song hits, some heavy reverb is on the snare. Except for the cuts. So every time there's that pause, the reverb is cut so there's no tail. I also, when that lead comes back in, it also has reverb on it, which it didn't before. It just fits better with the slow feel of the track. It needs to take up some more space. This part right here, I just got lazy and decided to stutter it, and it actually sounded kind of cool, so I kept with it. Yeah, and then the song ends, and we're all happy, and we celebrate, and yeah. If you have any questions, comment. I will respond. And yeah, I used a lot of tracks. There is surprisingly no mastering happening. Nothing happening on the master channel. I did that because when I exported this song, I don't know if you noticed, this is in a different pitch. The original song was in a much higher pitch, and it was faster. And sometimes when I finish songs, I time stretch them and pitch them down, just to see what the song sounds like with new ears. And I actually really liked and preferred the lower pitched version better. So I didn't want to mess up the mastering before I pitched it. So that's why I kept it raw, because then once I time stretched it, then I added the mastering. And that's in a file that I don't have anymore, because I only really used it once. But anyway, that's what's going on there. And that was a lot longer than I intended it to be. But yeah, hope you got something out of that. See you.